Love is a beautiful thing. I hope most of my audience can agree. When you're in love, you're the happiest you could ever be, and you think nothing could ever dampen that. But as with all things, time decides, you know what? I'm going to fuck with you because I can. And because you've agreed to spend your life with someone, I'm going to do what I can to make things as boring as possible, to the point where you decide to inject what is more charitably known as spice. Now that can take many forms. Simply going the extra mile, an additional date night, perhaps. Adding an additional person to the relationship for some people, but I've not yet seen proof that ends well in most cases. For all parties, that is. The most common way of spicing up a relationship, though, is in the bedroom. This is where things like the Kama Sutra, or Tantric, I think, come into effect.
Will you idiots tell me what this f***er is doing?
Don't touch me while I'm tantric.
Tantric? What the fuck is tantric?
It's a Buddhist discipline. You learn to channel your body's energies, your chakras. When you can do that, you can have sex for hours, even days.
And I've only heard of the second one because of American Pie 2. But, you know, Stifler's mum, yo. With these additional spices, there comes a risk. The risk in and of itself is that you might harm yourself while performing certain activities. Now, some people get off to this, and they don't discover until they're much older that that is the case. And to those people, I say fantastic, congratulations, better late than never. It's always good to know your kinks, what you're into, what you're not, and really, you should never knock something until you try it. And I mean this for virtually anything, really, except for death. You only get one chance at that, and you don't get to do it right the second time. Okay, there are one or two people that have done that, but it's only because the execution was botched. Now, in the context of the love life requiring spicing up, we need to insert somebody. So we're going to insert this couple, referenced in this article. I know I'm focusing predominantly on the Glade image, but that's because of what they decided to do to spice up their relationship, all at the request of the husband, which did surprise me a little, who had to go to hospital to have a can of air freshener, apple and cinnamon no less, removed from his bottom, because while having sex with his wife, he wished for it to be put up his butthole for additional pleasure? Or was it freshness? This is probably going to be one of the very few times a man goes to the bathroom and he doesn't have to say once he leaves, I'd give it 5 minutes. Rather than focusing on the image of the Glade that should at this point be given a freaking award for surviving such trauma and, of course, the pressures applied to it, although based on the lack of compression on that can, perhaps that guy's rectum wasn't as sturdy as he might have thought, which may actually have been a good thing, which would explain why in this x-ray that I'm now going to leave on the screen, why the entire thing was up there. I mean, I get it, but if you really want something inserted and you want it to be easy to get out, might I recommend beads from a sex shop, or just use a plug? And I am almost certain that they did in fact use lube, considering the whole thing was up there. One can surmise 50 gallons were used, and the lube was put to very good use in ensuring that can of Glade, apple and cinnamon, made a full and complete journey to Brown Town. Now, I am not going to judge what this man and wife do in their bedroom, but I might offer some recommendations instead. You see, you admit you are trying to spice up the relationship. Might I suggest instead, take up something a bit more risk-free, like some gentle whipping, or sounding with a barbed lead fishing weight. Whichever's easier for you or easier to come by. I'm sure both will have a desired result of you screaming, "Yes, mistress," or whatever the safety word is. Part B would want to advise your wife to make sure it's an absolute tongue twister just to fuck with you even more. I wonder if Glade are going to offer you an endorsement for this, or perhaps invest in the anal fresh scented market that is clearly open right now. I was going to make suggestions about using the Kama Sutra and trying out different positions. However, it had occurred to me that for her to have inserted it up his bottom he would have to have been really close, or his bottom would have to have been near her face. So 69? Maybe? I guess it doesn't matter really, but I do want to know whether or not it finished the job, and or if you had to stop what you were doing because of the pain that was being created by having inserted a can so far up your bottom. And this does remind me of something. Years ago when I was a teenager, there were these agony aunt pages in newspapers. Now I was staying with my father at the time, and I remember reading one, and at the time it was being covered by a page 3 model called Hannah Claydon, and somebody wrote in and asked her, or asked the agony aunt, but Hannah replied. They asked her what they should do because their boyfriend wants to take things so much further, to the point where the last time they had anal sex, he inserted a baked bean can up her bottom, and then 4 additional candles before inserting his penis up there as well. Now that sounds painful on the face of it, and I am curious as to whether or not the man opened the can with the ring pull, perhaps, and ate the beans. I mean, they were sealed. But the response from Hannah Claydon was, I would never let my boyfriend put that much up there. And I thought, limitations. Good to know. Classy bitch. Rather interestingly, while searching for images for this video through Google, I stumbled across an image that had me chuckle a little, where some genius in Germany in November of 2017 had to be rushed to hospital, a fitness fanatic no less, because his genitals had swollen because he'd inserted a 2.5 kilogram weight on his dick. Now, the hospital couldn't actually do anything about it, and much like when it comes to saving cats from trees, the firemen had to be called, where they ended up using a grinder and vibrating saw to remove the plate from his very much suffocated genitals. And let's be honest here, this is one of the genuine times where rubbing it might actually help. Get that blood back in there where it belongs, I guess. Get the blood moving.
And if you massage the sausage, you are calling me a wanker!
Can't blame me for this. The lengths some will go to. And for this guy, there is on Amazon a dumbbell for a penis. It's a novelty gift, but if you really want to work that muscle, use that, I guess? I mean, have you wanked it so hard it's just a nub? Well, had you. I don't know if you still have your penis or not, and I can't be bothered to go and look and find out. I don't think it matters. To summarise the gentleman who had a can of Glade shoved up his bottom by his wife at his request, I would like to make a suggestion. You've taken random household things, either because you're low income or because you think you're being edgy. Perhaps trying safer practices. Use the internet to purchase those items. Amazon has some things. There are other places, of course, but practice the spicing safely. And if the sex is so boring you had to resort to using a can of air freshener, might I recommend a different position? Or that tantric sex. I hear the release is mind-blowing. Anyway, I would love to know what you think about this genius, and the other one, the dumbbell one, because that was quite amusing. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I hope everyone has a lovely Monday the 7th. 1 week until D-Day, everyone. Until that meaningful vote gets rejected. And thank you all for listening.
That was it. Right there, that was a pure